let me just get straight into it. Like, basically, describe to the people like, who are you? Like, where you from? Like, what you do? What is that?
Yeah, my name is Kabir. I'm from Mumbai, India. I moved to London like a year ago to study. And I'm a musician. I release under the sound Chalk makes. I've been making music for like 6 years now, and I guess my sound has been described as a lot of things because I don't usually fit into many boxes, or the sound I have continues to change. But right now, I guess I would describe myself as an electronic musician.
Okay. I think something interesting is like your name, like the sound chalk makes. 'Cause, like, where did you like come up with
Mm.
that like name? Because like in terms of like that name itself, it's like the sound chalk makes is like really like not a pleasant sound. So like, where did the
Yeah,
name like
that's
that come
great.
from?
I don't know. I think I just wanted to kind of throw people off. To be honest, I made the name when I was like 13 or 14. For like, because I'd made this song and I just got my DistroKid subscription and I really needed a name. My name was different at that point in time, but I thought it'd be really cool and edgy to be this like the sound Chalk makes and have the music actually sound nothing like that. But yeah, man, it just stuck. It just stuck. And there's been different points of time where I've wanted to get rid of it. But it just keeps kind of persisting, and now I've kind of like found, I guess, the beauty in that name.
No, I think that name
Yeah.
is cool because it's like kind of unique, like compared to like everything else right now. Yeah.
Now the only issue is, dog, it's too long, right? Like it's so difficult to tell somebody, you make music, yeah, I make music. What's your name? The sound Chalk makes, and then I gotta repeat it like 10 times. But that's the only issue. That's like the minor issue.
All right. So you said you like doing it since like 13, 14. So like, have you been like making music since like for a while now, or is it like how long have you been making music?
I guess like production I've been doing since I was 14 or 13. But I've always been like a musician. I was like a singer since I was a kid, basically. Got trained in Indian classical, like vocals. And then I did like choir singing for a while. I also studied the keyboard, but I kind of hated it. So I quit like for 2 years. But yeah, then I just like I was in a band and I sort of like taught myself all these different instruments. And then one day I just downloaded this like app on my phone, which was kind of like BandLab or like Soundtrap, but a really shitty version. Um, that just that just inspired me to like keep making stuff. And then I did like GarageBand, and then I slowly just started learning more.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's been like 6 years of production now.
Okay. So you started off like doing production, like being a producer first, and then like after you started like singing and putting like your voice on it and that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I mean, my interest was always the singing first, I would say. But then when I learned about production and how like easy and naturally it came to me to be able to make the structure behind what goes on with my voice, that kind of like took up a lot of my time. And then I just began to be like, oh, my voice could also be an instrument over this section. And I guess that's still kind of the way I see it. My voice is like an instrument for whatever I'm doing production wise, and I really take pride in the production more than I do the vocals.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool because I noticed like a lot of like a majority of your stuff is like self-produced. Is that right?
Yeah, basically all of it. That's like the brunt of my work, like on a day-to-day basis, is just sitting down and producing.
Right. I
Um,
mean, is that because like you don't? Is it like a decision where it's like you don't want other people to like produce for you, or is it like is it something like I can only do this, or like if you get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's kind of like I'm not opposed to working with other people. Like there have been points in time where other people have kind of like sat down with my productions and helped me develop new things. But at the same time, I think I see myself as like producer first. It's a part of the process that I enjoy the most. And lately, I have been getting into like songwriting and singing a little more. just because it's always been this like part of me that I was like also trained in. But it's mostly just because I enjoy that part of the process the most, and it's the most like fulfilling thing to be able to sit down with like nothing but myself and be able to come up with like this body of like actual music, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's probably why.
like it's probably more like satisfying like when you make everything by yourself compared to like if you just like get a beat from someone else and then like, you do it that way.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've definitely I've dabbled in, type beats. But that was always more of like a fun thing to do when I was bored of production, as opposed to like the actual craft of it. I feel like with type beats, you kind of tend to get stuck into this like loop mentality because everything loops after a certain point, or like the different sections are just removals of certain things and additions of certain things, with like the underlying core being the same. But like the freedom to really explore the art of like composition within a production is what like makes me gravitate towards doing that myself. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of like music, and then you said you've been doing music for a while. Like, what kind of like music like were you listening to like when you were like growing up and stuff? Or like what was like
Hmm.
the first thing? Like, what was like when did you like fall in love with like music in general? Not just like making music, but like let's just like listening to music and be like, yeah, this is like music is the thing. Like, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's a good question, man. I think I grew up on like a bunch of varied stuff. Um, my dad was always really into psytrance. Um, he was into like Goa Gill and astral projection and that sort of like techno Goa under underworld scene.
Hmm.
So I mean, I kind of remember hating it for a while as a kid because there would just be these like long car drives where it's just like this lady speaking a monologue over like a techno beat, and I was like, dude, what is going on? But I think at a certain point I learned to love it in a way, and I feel like that kind of electronic exposure has helped me like, especially now, pick up pieces of like what those sounds meant and like contextualize them in like today's world. But I also grew up on like a bunch of, Indian classical music, um, a bunch of like classic rock, like Rush or I guess AC/DC, Dire Straits. I think it just really clicked for me at a young age. Like I've always kind of been singing along to what I'm hearing. Um, and like it's fun to see how nowadays, like all these different influences from my childhood kind of find different ways to come out in my music as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you like making music around 13, 14, but you mentioned you were doing like the Indian classical. Like when was that around like the same time, or was it like was that way back before that as well?
That was way before. That was way, I must have been like between like 7 and like 10. I think I did the Indian classical stuff. And then at the same time, I was doing like choir singing, like in
Okay.
this church in Mumbai. And it's not because I was religiously affiliated with it or anything. It just like it was like a class basically.
Yeah.
And then I kind of learned both these like styles and methods of singing, I guess, at a pretty young age.
Yeah. I think that's what makes me kind of interesting as well, because like compared to like all the other who make like similar music, there's kind of like an over reliance on like the auto tune and stuff. But like with you, it's like
Mm.
there's like a it's like proper singing, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I mean, I do try. Like, there are certain songs in my discography where there's a intentional choice to not use autotune at all because I find it really beautiful sometimes. The lack of tuning and like some sort of like disharmony between two things can be really, really beautiful. And I think like I don't know, I think to like Bob Dylan, right? Like, um, he's not a particularly great singer in terms of tune or key, but the way he says stuff and the way he makes his words like drop kind of makes you feel a certain type of way with the lack of like harmony, and that's something that I've been wanting to explore more as well. So,
Okay. In terms of like you mentioned like the music growing up and stuff, but like in terms of currently with the music like you make at the moment, what would you say
mm,
like the influences or like the inspirations between like the music you're making like now? Would you say?
mm, let's say a big one for me is LCD sound system. Um, I kind of, I really respect like the way that he's broken down pop music or what can be considered to be pop music into these like less concrete and like more abstract forms and just like picking apart pieces of different stuff within pop music to build like a new idea of what that means. I think I'm like really interested in like exploring how that works.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. You said like you're studying music. You're studying music right now in London, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. In terms of that,
yeah.
do you think studying music like that is helpful, or do you think like not really that? Do you think it's worth it? Like, say if someone was to like be like, I want to do music, do you think it's worth it to like study music at like university or stuff like that, or like, not really?
I think it depends on the kind of person you are. I guess for me, like just doing music since I was 14 and like having to like learn production myself and like teach myself really made me so interested in how the process itself worked because it was like a personal investment into the learning that I'm putting in. So whatever I can get out of it really sticks with me. But I mean, at a certain point, like a couple of years back, I didn't know what I wanted to do at university, but I always was like, yeah, I'm going to go to university. And then at some point, it just clicked that like whatever I've taught myself is still limited to like the box that I put myself in, and kind of breaking out of that box, especially in the last year. I feel like that's a big reason as to why like my output has increased so much. It's because this like exposure to these techniques and rules that have been formalized for like a long time now. And I feel like I was always so keen on being experimental and breaking the rules, but now I kind of understand that you need to know the rules in order to break them, if that makes sense. Like you need to understand really what you're trying to break in order to be able to break it. And I feel like that's the best thing that like university has done for me. But yeah, you can totally do it without university. You just need that sort of like access to facilities and that kind of drive and like ambition as well to just be able to like continue teaching yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like with like the internet now, like just like you can just go on there and like you
Mm.
can just learn like basically everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was my whole like come up basically, right? Like just if I ever had a problem, just like immediately like 15 YouTube videos on how to solve that problem. Um, but like that made it really, really easy. But also just like getting it in a structured format, from a point where like you understand what each individual thing is doing rather than just how to get to the end point. That really helped me. Just going through those like processes in order to reach the end goal and then like making the end goal something that I can tweak as well while I'm doing it. That's like the biggest help that university has like given me so far.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, going back to you're in London, right? So how would you say? Would you say like the being in London or like the UK in general has like influenced your music? Like, is it like would you say it's like become different like once you come to the UK or like London in general, or would you say not really?
I would say yeah, to a big extent. I feel like London is right now the center of a lot of music. More so than it's been for like a long time. And just like it's not the same in Mumbai where like any type of night in London, doesn't matter when it is, you can go out and really listen to something that you haven't heard before. And for me, it was like just the exposure to all these different, more electronic ways of doing things and like these different genres, different groups of like subgroups and niches of people that don't really exist kind of in Mumbai. That's really changed, I guess, the way that I listen to music, the type of music I listen to, and therefore like what's coming out. But also we live in this like, with the internet, anything is kind of possible. Like if you want it enough, you have the ability to discover things that you've never even heard of.
No.
I feel like that's also a thing that you can do. But yeah, just being in London makes that much more accessible, like on a grassroots like base level.
Okay. I'm gonna go a bit like I'm gonna sidetrack a bit. In terms of like moving to London, what would you say are like the best things? Like, or like living about like living in London like compared to being in like Mumbai?
Hmm, that's interesting. I feel like one bit of it is what I said before, which is like access to like different types of music, different types of culture, and people who are genuinely, I guess, invested in the art of it rather than the money part of it. I feel like a lot of the times in Mumbai, the music industry, the underground industry basically doesn't exist, right? And then the music industry is tied to like this bigger industry, which is Bollywood. So everything ends up kind of being, or at least most popular music ends up being like tied to Bollywood in some way.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, the best part of being in London is just access to like culture and just being able to go out and having like dude, even something as simple as like a walkable city, right?
mm,
Like being able to just like go downstairs and experience like people and culture. That doesn't really happen in Mumbai. It's more so like gated communities of people, and then you kind of are within the same bubbles always. And London has really like burst my bubble in that
mm,
sense. It's made me like want to go out and discover more things.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
I would
say
say
one.
that's kind of the best part.
Yeah. I'd say I'm gonna go opposite of that. Like, what's the worst thing about the UK or London?
Man, to be honest, it's the food. The food is really like food, the weather, the cost of living. Those are the top three. But I feel like those are all like I guess sacrifices you have to make in order to be able to enjoy the other things about it. Um, but yeah, man, sometimes the food really has no flavor. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're doing, but food at home is different, man. It's
Yeah.
really really good. Yeah, it's the main thing.
Yeah. I'd say also like speaking of that, like what are like the main things you miss like compared to being here, like instead of being in like Mumbai?
Hmm.
I'd say one of them
Um,
could be like the food, yeah. Or like what
yeah, one of them for
else?
sure is the food. I guess the major thing about like being in Mumbai is this sense of like security and comfort because I'm so like well acquainted with what the city is. Um, but on the flip side, it's been so good for me to just like burst out of that bubble and be able to discover like a new city with like some sense of fear. And I think that fear is like really important in terms of like you bursting your bubble and really coming out of what you're comfortable doing, like what you're comfortable being. And since like music, I guess like all other art forms is so influenced by the way like you live. Like just changing the way you live can change how the music sounds, and then changing the music sounds can change the way you live, and it's just like this cycle that keeps on going. But now it's also really like helpful to have the ability to like go back home for a bit and just see what's changed and see what's happening. And then, especially this time when I was back, I noticed that there is this like really, really thriving underground scene now. A lot of young kids are doing a lot of cool shit. And I think that's just going to keep on happening and that's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. I think a big part of that is like this internet access thing, where people are discovering things they've never heard before and then combining like their own, I guess, like true influences with like who they are. And that's been like really exciting to see. And there's a lot of cool shit that's going to come out of Mumbai very soon.
Yeah, because
So,
I've seen like you posted like you've been doing like a few shows there, and then there's like you've got like a real community there. Do you feel like
yeah.
is there? Do you have that same sense of community here, like in London, or is it, or
Mm.
like would you say it's like different?
No, it's way different. It's way different for sure. I feel like in Mumbai, the thing is with that community, I've sort of been a part of building it from the ground up. But here I'm trying to enter it from the outside. So it's a different level of like familiarity that I have with the scene there. But I feel like over here it's more hierarchical and there's I guess more barriers to entry just because there's like so many people trying to do the same thing or trying to do a similar thing. But yeah, I've just been I guess looking forward to building a community here and I think it's just gonna happen in due time. The more shows I play, the more stuff I put out, the more things I do. I guess it's just a natural like consequence.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, are you thinking of like staying in like or London or just the UK in general for a while, like even after university, or is it are you just planning to
Mm.
go back? How would you say like into right now?
I'm not sure right now, you know. I guess like when I was growing up, I was under the impression that I was gonna live in the US
Okay.
because I was born there. I spent like the first like 4 or 5 years of my life there. But the decision to come to London um was kind of like a spanner. Like sorry, mate. Yeah, I was saying that the decision to come to London was kind of different than what I ever thought I would like be doing with my life. And on one hand, I'm really glad it's happened, but it's also this like confusion, I guess, which will be solved in due time. Like I don't know where I'm gonna go. But I think that's kind of cool because that just means that I can decide what happens next.
Okay. Yeah. So there's not like you don't have like a concrete decision. Oh, I want to stay here after university. Like it's kind of just up in the air at the moment. Would you say?
Yeah, it's up in the air, and I think like depending on how like the next 2 years go, because I still have like so much time, you know. I'll just make those decisions and be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna go to the US in December. I'm playing a show um in like around Christmas.
Okay.
That'll just I'll open another kind of scene up, I guess the way I see it, like another kind of pathway. So yeah, my options are like entirely open then.
Yeah. Have you done any shows in London so far?
Not as the sound chalk makes.
Okay.
I've done a show of like a more acoustic electronic type of setting in an art gallery with like a bunch of my friends where we have like an unofficial, I guess, band. But yeah, I'll probably be doing one around next month or the month after. It's not confirmed yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's cool. Um, in terms of I was talking about like community and you're so talking about like the underground as well. There's like a bubbling scene, especially on like SoundCloud. And I've been looking like of like the Indian quote unquote underground scene with like people. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing their names right, but there's like Suffer on it for new 14K. How would you say about like that
Mm.
scene in particular? And even though you're not necessarily part of that, how would you think of like things like that going on in like India at the moment?
I think it's really, really cool. I think it's like sort of just came out of nowhere, maybe like a year or two ago. And I feel like in the last 6 months, I don't know if you've heard of Mumbai Underground.
I think you
Um,
posted about it a few times.
yeah, so I guess my community is called Mumbai Underground, but there are these group of rappers and vocalists, Pacific Sharp Eye, Mercury Funk. They're doing a lot of cool stuff right now. Um, so I don't know. I guess like they're a little they're a little older and their like their beat selection and their vocals are very very different. Like it's very tied to this like I guess combination of being Indian, like truly representing like what that means
Hmm.
as well as like just taking these like different influences from around the world and like combining it into this like new thing. That's really exciting. And I think a lot of stuff is gonna come out of that in the next few years. I just hope it doesn't get, I guess, commodified to the same extent that we tend to commodify music in India.
Hmm.
Because I feel like that's a real problem with any sort of grassroots level like music movement that starts in India is that inevitably, if people see that it makes money, it turns into this whole other thing of how much can we exploit it.
Yeah.
I really, really hope that, you know, it's a new thing and it doesn't happen to them.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Speaking about going back to speaking about being in London, do you think there's been a barrier with you being Indian and playing like shows or like doing the things you want, or has that not really been an issue so far?
Mm. No, I don't really think so. I think like, in fact, I think London is the place to be as an immigrant
Hmm.
or as somebody who's not of a certain kind because nobody is of a certain kind in this place. Everybody is just like from somewhere else in some capacity. I think that's really beautiful. I guess like thing about me not playing shows is I was really averse to it for the last like year or so, just because I was working on this way to redefine like what my live performance actually meant. Like I was looking for ways to like really make it into a performance instead of me just sitting there with a mic. Now I guess I'm getting more comfortable with the different things that I can do on stage and like the different possibilities that I do have, like using hardware and software at the same time live, in addition to doing my vocals. But yeah, yeah, I guess that's what I'm planning to do for my next few shows.
Oh, okay. I mean, we've been talking about music for a while, so like outside of like music, is like what do you enjoy to like do? Like, do you watch like movies, TVs, or, like do you do sports? Like
Yeah.
what's that? What do you usually do?
Dude, I love sport, man. I do love sport. I used to play a lot of basketball. Um, I still play from time to time, just not as much as I like. Mm. I love running. I think running is like this incredible thing.
It's,
Like runner's high is like a real thing, and it just like helps me get my mind like, straight, helps me get my mind off things. But yeah, in terms of like music, I mean, sorry, in terms of like media and like movies and stuff, I really enjoy like documentaries. I enjoy just like learning about like the different stuff that's kind of happening around me and like in the world. And I don't know, I used to really be into like fiction and stuff, like fictional movies and like the idea of like imagining another world. But I guess nowadays I consume so much like of the news and so much of like real like documentary type related stuff. Um, just because I want to like learn more about like the world.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. In terms of you also like speaking of that, like you're talking about like film and stuff. You have a song called "Women in Film and TV" or television rather.
Mm.
Yeah. Who are your favorite women in television and movies?
Favorite women. Yeah. That's a very good question, bro. I think the list is pretty long, and it's been different at different points of my life. Um, I think when I made the song, it was really I was watching Twin Peaks,
Okay.
and yeah, Audrey from Twin Peaks. That's who I was thinking of. Um, but yeah, there was a point in time where I was really into anything Margot Robbie did. Um, and I actually had this song by this actress called Dylan Galula, um, who was one of my favorite women in television for a long time. But that song is no longer up just because of personal reasons. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, got no love for like the Bollywood scene or Bollywood actresses. Nothing like that.
Man, I guess some of them I do. I don't know, I was never really into Bollywood. Like I don't remember like sitting down and watching a Bollywood movie because I wanted to. I, um I guess I used to have this poster up of Madhuri Dixit when she was like I don't know from like the 80s, and I used to look at that poster every day because it inspired me. But it was a really that was a really good time in my life. But yeah.
Yeah. That's also interesting as well because in terms of like your music itself, like you can, even though sometimes you do like sometimes put like the influences of like Indian music or like Indian classical or like Bollywood and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
wouldn't usually like say that like that defines you. Or is that like a conscious thing, or is it like
Yeah.
what would you say that is? It's
Hmm.
like not
I guess
include
I've
like the
never
Indian
really.
stuff. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. I've never thought of anything I'm making as a reflection of my identity, if that makes sense, or at least like as a reflection of like my cultural identity. Like, I guess being Indian is important to me, and it means its own thing. But that's more in terms of like personal reasons, and I guess the way that like I see the world, than it is an effect on my art. And I feel like a lot of times the idea of Indianness or like being Indian is played up with this the sample choices or the vocal choices that you can make. But I mean, there are different ways to like include bits of my like feeling Indian in what I make. I feel like a lot of that is just generally speaking my outlook on the world and like the way I see like people and societies and like the way that like I can make a contrast between how I was living before in India and how I'm living now. I feel like that's what really informs like the cultural aspect of my work. But yeah, no, sometimes I do enjoy definitely like chopping up like different Indian samples and just like exploring through because like India has such a like varied and rich history of different types of music. And it's really interesting to kind of explore how like rich that culture really is. But I don't usually tend towards like overusing or like oversampling um specifically Indian music just because I feel like it's not what I need to do to reflect my cultural identity, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. In terms of like, you're currently releasing a lot of like singles through like or just like tracks on SoundCloud and everything. Is there like are you working on like any projects anytime soon, or is it like any albums or any EPs or anything like that at the moment?
Yeah, so I've kind of taken a break from releasing singles since I think basically July, sometime in June or July. Um, and since then I've been working on this, I guess, an album. Um, I have I have like I'm at this point right now where I have a cohesive sound in a way that I've never had before. I feel like I'm at a point where I'm able to like marry different stuff from my different influences and be able to really like make an actual concrete product out of it. So yeah, I've been working on this project for like a couple months now. Um, and I don't have like an end date or like an end goal in mind. I just want to make as much as I can and get the best out of what that is. But I mean, in another way, because I was releasing music for like the whole, like all these singles for the whole of this year, I feel like that's given me the freedom and the space to kind of sit back for a while and really reflect on what that sounded like and to see the effects of that now come in while I have the freedom to make this project as well. So yeah, there is something in the works. Um, maybe by the end of this year or sometime next year,
Yeah,
is like how it feels right now. But yeah.
yeah. Are you also planning to do any like videos for that? You currently have like a few music videos out right now, but is there any like
Yeah.
are you working on any like music videos for any of like the tracks you've released so far or anything like that?
No, so all the music videos I do now will be for tracks that are going to be new, tracks that are going
Okay.
to be on the album. But yeah, I have like one that I really have planned well, and I know the ideas that I have. I guess I always in the past struggled with music videos because so much of my effort went into actually making the song that the idea of like a visual aspect to it kind of escaped me. But now I'm kind of learning that I don't have to do everything myself, and like a lot of stuff can be outsourced and I can really take other people's senses of like direction and influence into what I'm making, just like for a different medium. But yeah, I have a couple of videos planned as well.
Okay. In terms of like the ups in your videos as well, they're like edited like like in a unique way as well. Would you say like and also with your covers on like the on your SoundCloud tracks and stuff like that? What's like what would you say the inspirations between like the visuals of your music is? Would you say?
Hmm. I don't know. I guess for me, it's always changed from time period to time period. And I guess all the singles that I've released in the last year, for which I've done the art for or done the videos for, it's just been influenced by the way I was feeling at that point in time. It was more so like just um I was being very sporadic and very like restless. And it's like every week I would release a new song just because I had that much in me. And I feel like the visuals also reflected that, just like stream of consciousness. Whatever I felt like doing, I just did without thinking about it. And I really needed that because be able to like do without thinking is such an underrated aspect of like creating anything. Even though there's like a lot of thought that goes into it, the overthinking of it can sometimes hold you back in so many ways. But I do feel this thing, right? Like where I listen to a song that I'm making and I see a color, or I see a pattern, or I see like an idea of an object that kind of represents what the song is about. And I try and translate that the best I can in terms of like how my editing is, or like how my visuals look, or how the cover art looks. I feel like that's what really is the like influence behind all of that.
Okay. Cool. So in terms of the next project, there's no like you don't have like a set date for like when you want the project to be done, is it?
Yeah, I guess ideally, it would be end of this year,
Okay.
but I'm also at this point where like I know that I want this project because it's the first time that I've been working on something that's bigger than a single or bigger than an EP. I know I want it to sort of drain me. Like I know I want I want everything I have to be put into it. So I don't want to, I guess, rush anything and like come to previous conclusions before anything is actually done.
Hmm.
I've done that a bunch of times. I was at the same stage kind of like a year ago where I thought I would have this album out by the end of the year. And I was just like zapped creatively. I was like burnt out and it didn't end up happening. But I'm at a point now where it's like I know how to pace myself. But I also know how to get the maximum out of like whatever time I have. So I just want to keep going until it's like something I'm actually entirely proud of as like a body of work.
Yeah.
And I feel like making a body of work in general is much it's a different skill set than being able to do like a lot of singles. Because with a body of work there needs to be this like degree of like cohesion and just like things have to work together as well as separately, which is its own like unique skill, like its own thing to kind of perfect. So I'm working towards that. But yeah, ideally before the end of this year.
Yeah. Has it been difficult because you said you're currently studying uni? Has it been difficult to like balance like doing like uni work and like working on music and stuff like that?
Not really. I guess my uni work is kind of tied into a lot of my own music at the same time.
Okay.
And even when it's of a different type of work, like even if I'm recording like a more say if I'm recording like different type of singer, or I'm recording a different type of um genre or band, that informs some of my own creative decisions that I make like within my own music. It's all sort of like tied together, which is kind of the beautiful thing about it.
All right.
But yeah, I'm also working on this project with my friend where we record more acoustic type of stuff, more like DIY acoustic, guitar, trumpet, making drums out of like like everyday objects, that sort of stuff. Because that really interests me as well.
Okay. Do you have currently things released under there as well? Or is that still a work in progress?
No, that's still a work in progress. It should be, should be out, I guess, soon. We have a couple demos that are basically ready, but I'm just waiting to be able to properly mix and master everything and, make some like final embellishments and hopefully like record and write some more. I feel like when I sit down with a guitar, my songwriting process is so different from like doing it electronically. Just because I guess when I produce on my laptop, it's kind of like I make a section and I make different parts of the composition, and then the vocals kind of support that. But writing with like an actual instrument is more like sitting down with a piece of paper and like starting from the ground up, not really having anything on your software until that part of it is done. But yeah, it's a different process entirely, and that process also has also influenced the way I kind of write now, where I prefer to like sit down and write lyrics literally on a piece of paper before I actually record any of them.
Okay. So
Yeah,
before, like, were you like just do like kind of quote unquote freestyling or stuff like that, or was it like kind of like that?
yeah, basically a mix of like freestyling and kind of like just punching in,
Yeah.
like doing a couple lines sitting and listening to how those felt, and then like doing the next couple of lines. Um, and I feel like doing the songwriting process entirely has opened me up to like just being more thorough with what I choose to say and like how I say it, um, and like how the entirety of a song flows. A long time I was kind of like writing didn't matter that much to me, like what I said didn't matter that much to me because I saw my voice as an instrument. But lately I've just been thinking, words are also pretty powerful things like within a song.
In terms of like recording like your stuff, do you do it like is it mostly like in the home studio, or do you like record in like at unis and stuff like that as well?
It's a mix of both, to be honest. I do prefer recording at home, uh, just because I get like freedom to do whatever I want to. And there's no like set time limit. But in the studios, it's kind of like you have X amount of time to get anything done, and then that kind of creates a pressure within me that I don't really like. But it's also good to be able to work under pressure, so it's a bit of both always.
Mm. In terms of you're talking about, so do you said you were working on the project, so is it like from now on we're not expecting any like singles or any tracks for a long time, or how would you say?
At least a short while. I need to piece everything together into this one body of work that I'm confident in, and then also have the other aspects around it done. Like I need the art done, I need the visuals done. I need to, for the first time, like think and like sit with an entire like plan and strategy instead of just like doing what I want to. So yeah, I think it should be like a little while, couple months maybe, but we'll see.
All right. I think in terms of question, I think that's I've been spin through most of the questions I've gone through.
I just run away till the sun comes up. Meet you there, oh, just tell me and my mama say. I just run away till the sun comes up. Meet you there, oh, just tell me and my mama say. Just with me, no the link go store. Tuck them away, shut the windows down.
Sick, man.
Yeah,
I love the editing style. Other guys who are dancing the same, like, is that the group who's singing?
I
Is the
think
same thing?
I think that's the group who's singing. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I love how it went from like the like synchronized dance to this like uh VHS edit kind of thing. That was sick. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
yeah.
I mean, I wish I understood what they were saying. Um,
Do you pay attention
that's
to
sick.
like things like things globally, like music from like different places and stuff like that?
Yeah, I used to. I used to a lot. I guess less so as of now. But like in terms of like old music, I really like looking at old music from like different places across the world. Just to understand like how stuff kind of spread. I think that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you rate that song?
That's the song is a solid like 3.5 out of 5. The video is like a 4. The video is very hard. I do like the video. I love it when they like synchronize dance all together. I think that's really hard. I think boy bands are, in general, boy bands are like really cool.
Yeah, I think these are like a group of like electronic producers from like Japan they're newly coming up. I think they actually come into London in like a few days. But yeah,
Oh wow.
they're pretty sick. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. The beat on that one is really tough.
Yeah, I think what the twins are doing is like really cool. So like the fact they're like it's like two South Asian guys as well. Like, you don't even get that. Like, there's not many like South Asian artists who are like also making music like that as well. Like currently.
Yeah. No, it's really sick. Yeah, the album was really good. I have to say I do prefer like some other tracks on the album, like compared to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the visual style of that was also sick. And I kind of really like how they blend like the Indian samples always.
Yeah.
It's done in a way like that's like really creative and like especially like production wise very sick.
Yeah. I think Yeah, with the Finns, I think they're doing something like because we haven't had like I don't know if you know about like in terms of globally like there's not really like that many or in terms of like English speaking world like there's not many people like South Asian which are like, really big or popular or like even making like
Yeah.
music is crazy. Like the last one I can think of is like MIA. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I think we definitely need more of it and yeah.
No, it's gonna happen. I feel like even the whole Asian underground scene that came from the UK, like, 15 years ago, I guess like Jay Paul and stuff like that. That was also like a big movement. Like Jay Paul is somebody who really, really inspired me. Like even the way he blended his samples with like more electronic and like abstract stuff, very, very cool. But yeah, I think they're kind of just like continuing that tradition, very sick to see.
Yeah, definitely need to see more of that.
What an idiot. God, what is he doing, God?
I'd actually never heard that before, and that was amazing. That was like, oh no, it's not just the music. Like one thing, like even though I've never really watched Bollywood like that, one thing I can appreciate is like the spectacle of it. Like it's such a massive like thing, like just to get like all these people in the same room and like coordinated in this way, and the colors in that video were like low-key amazing. What was that song called? Also, this dude is pretty funny, man. The guy with the orange tie. Govinda.
Yeah,
What a legendary guy. That's
yeah,
amazing.
so good.
Sony bin. Okay, that's fire, man. Yeah, that was really sick. That was really, really sick.
Yeah,
That's a 10 on 10.
10 out of 10.
Straight up 10 on 10.
Yeah. Also, like, I wanted to ask a few questions because, like, well, not very much about this, but some like came up like when I was watching it. In terms of like English songs, like even though you're Indian yourself, you primarily sing in like English. Is there like a reason for like you not singing in like Hindi or like sticking with English or anything like that?
I guess like English is my first language, like it's the only language I kind of know this well. Like I don't know how to speak Hindi the same way I speak English.
Okay.
Not like I speak a bunch of Indian languages, but not as well as I speak English. And it just never made sense because this is just like my base, like medium of communication, I guess. Like, it's not like a simple reason why. I mean, but I do have in the song Marijuana, I do this little section where I speak in Hindi a little bit, like I sing in Hindi a little bit. But it just doesn't feel like natural when I do it. It feels like I have to Google translate what I'm saying and to make sure it's like actually correct and shit like that. So it's just it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that song is actually one of my favorites for me. That's like the one that got me into like your music in particular. Yeah,
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, what do you think of that?
That was low-key beautiful. That was really beautiful. The sample in the back, is that like an Indian vocal or like some sort of Japanese chop or what?
Yeah, I think what it is that guy. It's basically a commercial for like the game Shenmue. It was like it came out in like in the 90s, like I think 2000s. I think the message something else is playing.
Sick, man. I really love
Yeah, I think the actual song is this one. If you can see my screen, it's Osmani Sounds.
Yeah.
Spiritual Master Key. I think basically this, from what I was researching. Yeah, what I was researching is I think this guy used to be part of like the UK underground of like the electronic like the jungle and like DnB stuff. So I think somehow like Sega, like the company who made the game Shenmue, like man just found this and they just put this in this commercial.
Yeah, no, it fits, man. It fits so well. I used to be like, not even used to, like, sometimes there are months at a time where all I listen to is like this atmospheric D&B type of thing. Like I don't know if you've heard of Good Looking Records.
No.
It's this record label started by this guy who's like a gay D&B jungle vet, LTJ Bookham. And everything on that record label kind of sounds like this. It's like blending these like folky, like atmospheric sounding melodies with like just these fast-paced D&B chops. But yeah, that was sick, man. That went really well with the visuals as well.
Yeah. I think that guy, he was like a part of like if I my research when I was researching the place correct. I think he used to be part of like the South Asian UK underground, like the D&B and like the jungle stuff. Yeah. So like that being sampled isn't like really a surprise when you look into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
That beat is really something.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you're in like an industrial
Yeah.
craziness. It was wild.
Man. And I didn't expect the drums to sound like that after hearing like the intro melody. Like I was like, okay, it's gonna drop. But that beat was really ridiculous. That was sick.
Yeah,
That was unbelievable.
I think. Yeah, that's so cool. Also, that's like in terms of like production, yeah, it's crazy. I think in terms of like hip hop right now, I think that's the genre where like the production is like just going like so far ahead of like so much other stuff. I think right now. And also,
Yeah, that's true, man. People are really not afraid to just like keep pushing the boundary. Because like as soon as it's pushed a little bit, this whole other world opens or like everything becomes that much more acceptable. So people just like keep going. Like even the new Xavier Sobe's tape, um, some of the production on that was really like unbelievable. Like just shit that I've never heard before. And like it feels like people are always coming up with like new stuff.
yeah, Xavier so basically it's sick. But yeah, it's so crazy because like there's so much like interesting stuff going on at the moment, and also it also like shows like this sort of stuff isn't like the best stuff isn't also like the most popular stuff, but I think that's kind of an obvious
True.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's mostly the case. Yeah, I was sick. That guy's name is Hiroshi.
Hiroshi, yeah, he's like I think he's from France. But yeah, I saw this on
Nice.
Twitter and I was like, this is crazy.
No, it's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah. That was really pretty, man. That was like that was almost haunting. Beautiful. The cover art is really sick as well. How do you find this? It's pretty amazing.
Oh, I'm just on the internet.
No, it's same. I get it. I completely get it.
But yeah, I mean that's how I like find everything really. It's just like diving on the internet, just like clicking random stuff, and then sometimes you just like find like cool stuff.
Yeah, no, true, man. That's what happens for like most of the stuff I sample as well. You know, it's just like deep dives, just like kind of like crate digging, but just like digital crate digging.
Yeah.
Just going through like the most random archives, finding. But that was really cool, and the cover art was really nice. I'll be listening to that quite a bit. Thank you for putting me on.
And in terms of getting those recommendations, I'd say, well, I'm gonna flip it on you now. What are like some songs that you think like people should listen to?
I think people should check in with Jungoose. Jungoose is this He's this like 17-year-old kid from Mumbai who makes the most unbelievable rap music you've ever heard. He has this one song called Neurology, which samples like psytrance at the beginning, and then it drops into like the hardest beat ever. And he fucking kills it on every single song. He performed recently at an event in Mumbai, and yeah, his like presence and his energy for like his first show ever, really unbelievable. He's really sick. But yeah, check in with Changoose.
Fungus? Well, how do you
He's the
spell
man.
that?
Changoos. The Changoose.
Oh yeah, I think I found it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else you want to shout out?
This song, Neurology is mad. Let me see what I've been
It
listening.
doesn't have to be like, it can be like something popular, like something like random, like just stuff you're listening to in general, really.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've been listening to this album kind of all the time. Calling Out of Context by Arthur Russell.
Oh yeah.
Um, I've just started loving like this type of pop music where like people deconstruct things and then like kind of find new ways to like put them back together. Yeah, this album is really beautiful. Like 2 days ago, I was on a Lime bike at like in the dark of night inside of the canals at Regent's Park, and it was like so beautiful to listen to this album because it was like so haunting, and it made me feel like I was like in a movie and like a video game, just trying to figure out how to get to where I was going. Um, I've been listening to a lot of Young Thug. Um, I've always loved Young Thug. I think he's one of the most creative. Like I don't even want to call him a rapper, you know, because he's like an artist. Um, yeah, I've been listening to like Jeffrey a lot.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey is one of my favorite Young Thug albums. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey is really an incredible album. Oh, and this is a pretty great album. There's this band called EE, like just two small E's,
Okay.
and they have this album called Ramadan.
All right.
I don't really know why it's called Ramadan because I just think it's a group of like Asian American dudes. But it's sort of like acoustic emo music. I think they were from like San Francisco, and this album came out in like 2003. Some of the like chords they use and like the way they do their progressions and vocals is really really sick. So yeah, that's what I've been listening to.
All right. So yeah, I think we've been going on for this for quite a while. So I'm gonna just do the final few things. So in terms of your music in particular, do you have any particular like goals for your music or like any milestones you want to reach in terms of your music? Or, like what's like the goal for like you making music? I would say.
Like right now, I guess the base like personal goal of it is just to keep evolving and to like keep changing and to keep being able to like do what I want to in like a way that's like true to myself. Because sometimes I find it like so difficult with music. Like there's no traditional like milestone markers for like success that you have, right? Like other than I guess like a record deal or like X amount of monthly listeners. There's no like sort of feedback that you get except for like people just like honestly fucking with you. So yeah, I guess that's my goal, just to get as many people to fuck with me as I can. Um, yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably the milestone.
Cool. And then in terms of like, do you have like in terms of the last question is, do you have like a message for like the people, or like, or just like this is like the time where you can like shout out like stuff you're doing, and like, or just like anything you want to share to people or anything like that.
Yes, just to pay attention, and to listen with intent if they do listen. Like it's always a blessing that anybody listens at all. But if you do, just pay attention, and there's like a lot more coming very very soon. And yeah, I'm really excited for this project, and it's gonna happen like very soon, I think. But yeah.